Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are jumping headfirst into one of the biggest, most important updates in modern web development, the super-fast, performance-first Next.js App Router.
But before we get into all the technical details, I want you to just think about this one question. What if your app was just fundamentally faster, right out of the box with no extra work? Well, that's the core promise of the Next.js App Router.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with what makes this a revolution. Then we'll unpack the key idea of server-first components. After that, we'll see how you actually build your UI, check out the built-in UX toolkit, and finally, we'll cover how to handle data and make your app interactive.
All right, let's kick it off with Section 1, the App Router Revolution. And I'm not being dramatic when I say revolution. This is a genuine, fundamental shift away from how we used to think about building web apps. It's all about a more powerful, server-centric approach.
So what is it, really? Well, at its core, the App Router is a brand new routing system that lives in a new app/directory in your project. And the secret sauce powering the whole thing? It's a technology called React Server Components, which are all about making things fast. This slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? You can see the evolution perfectly. We're going from the old Pages directory to the new app directory. We're shifting from client-side rendering by default to server-side by default. And look at this. We get integrated data fetching and a way more powerful system for layouts and streaming. It's just a massive upgrade across the board. Okay, now for the most important part, server-first components. Seriously, if you understand this one core idea, you've basically mastered the new app router. It's a total paradigm shift. So what on earth is a server component? Well, think of it like this. It's a component that does all its thinking and rendering on the server, and then it's done. It sends zero JavaScript to the browser. Absolutely none. This makes your pages incredibly lightweight and lightning fast, which is amazing for performance and for Google too. But of course, you're probably thinking, what about clicking buttons and using state? We still need our apps to be interactive, right? That's exactly where client components come in. These are the classic React components we all know and love. If you need something to happen when a user clicks, you're going to need a client component.
So how do you tell Next.js that a component needs to be one of those interactive ones? It's this simple. You just add this one little line, this use client directive, at the very top of the file. That's it. Everything else is automatically a super fast server component by default.
Okay, enough theory. Let's get practical. In Section 3, we're building your UI. This is where we get to see how all these cool new concepts actually make building routes and layouts surprisingly easy.
So with this whole new architecture, you might be wondering, how do you actually make a new page in your app? You'd think it might be complicated, but you'd be wrong.
And this just shows how beautifully simple it is. You want to make a dashboard page? Just create a dashboard folder inside your app directory. Then you just pop a page.js file inside it. And that is literally it. You've just created a new, blazing fast, server-rendered route. It's just file system routing at its absolute best.
But here's another total game changer, layouts. By creating a special layout.js file, you can define a piece of shared UI like your main navigation bar or a sidebar. Now here's the magic. That layout doesn't re-render when you move between pages. It stays put, which makes your whole app feel incredibly responsive and snappy. Let's keep moving. Next.js doesn't just give us a new way to structure our apps. It gives us a whole toolkit to build a better user experience right out of the box. So welcome to the UX toolkit. You know that feeling when you click a link and you're just staring at a blank white screen, wondering if it's broken? Yeah, Loading.js fixes that. You just create this file, and Next.js will automatically show your loading spinner or skeleton screen instantly while the real content is being prepared on the server. No more blank screens. It's amazing. And what about when things go wrong? Because, they do. Well, with an error.js file, you automatically wrap your page in what's called an error boundary. So if something breaks, it won't crash your entire application. Instead, your users will see a helpful fallback screen that you designed. It just makes your app so much more resilient. Now, the underlying tech that powers all of this is something called streaming. Instead of waiting for the entire page to be ready on the server starts sending down the UI in chunks as soon as they're ready. This means your user sees the layout and the loading states immediately, which makes your site feel way faster. All right, we're in the home stretch. We've built the UI, now let's make it come alive. Section 5 is all about data and interactivity, how we actually get data and let our users move around the app. So data fetching is now just
beautifully simple. You can use the standard fetch that you already know, and you can do it right inside your server components. And Next.js just supercharges it behind the scenes. It automatically prevents you from fetching the same data twice and gives you really precise control over caching. It's just so efficient.
Now, for moving around the app without that full page reload, we've got a couple of key tools, or hooks. The useRouter hook is what you'll use to programmatically send a user to a new page, and usePathName is super simple. It just tells you what the current URL is.
Now listen up, because this is a rule you absolutely have to burn into your brain. Because these hooks need to talk to the browser, to the URL bar, to the navigation history, they can only be used inside of client components. You know, the ones you mark with Use Client. That is a critical takeaway. So as we wrap things up here, what's the big picture? It really all boils down to two massive benefits. The Next.js App Router gives you, 1, dramatically faster performance for your users, and 2, a much cleaner, more powerful, and just better developer experience for you.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This server-first way of thinking isn't just a Next.js thing. It's a huge trend across the entire web industry. So the real question you should be asking yourself is, the web is moving back to the server. Is your code ready for that shift?